Hi, everybody. So we thought it would be really nice to introduce you to Steph Cooper, who has been having some rehabilitation with sport rehabilitator Emily since she had a horrible injury to her shoulder in September. And we think that Steph has done so well with her rehab that she has become our rehab patient of the month under Emily's expert guidance. So tell us, Steph, what did you do back in September? I've got a funky picture of it. Tell us what you did.
So while playing rugby, I was tackled. It was a clean tackle. I hit the ground, immediately felt pain. And then after club physio had looked at me and a nice trip to A&E, it transpires that I had a grade 5 tear of my AC joint.
Okay. So the AC joint is the acromioclavicular joint, which is the distal end, the far end of the shoulder here. And so this is why sometimes we can see people with like a step deformity in the shoulder, but you'd done worse than that, hadn't you? You'd actually completely separated it, which means that the ligament had completely gone. So you had surgery to put that right. And you had surgery straight away, is that right?
Yeah, so it happened on Sunday. Immediately went to A&E, and then the case was studied in a meeting the next day. So they rang me on the Tuesday, and I was in for surgery at 9:30 on the Wednesday.
Okay. And so what did they do to your shoulder? Did they replace the ligament with a synthetic ligament?
Yes. So an artificial ligament was put in with a screw to hold it in place, and then they, excuse me, also shaved off part of the collarbone, because otherwise it would have been at high risk of arthritis as I got older.
Okay. So at what point did you get involved, Em?
So we started our rehab in January. By then she was allowed full range of the shoulder, but obviously we had reduced mobility. But along with the shoulder, we also actually had a right meniscus injury for the knee as well, where you'd gone down hard, hadn't you? And you initially had knee pain, and that's what stopped her playing. And then she realised she had shoulder pain. So we had kind of a 2-for-1 when it came to rehab. All the right side hurt. Initial assessment, we saw that actually she had her shoulder only went to about here. So we took some photos, and over the time we got the shoulder even closer. I believe the surgeon has said that you were always going to have reduced mobility, but we've pretty much got it back to normal now. We've done week by week, we've done just exercise plans, and she's done amazing.
Yeah. So you started off with basic stuff. I mean, that's basic, isn't it? Getting that range of motion back. What range have you got now, Steph?
All the way.
Yay! And how's the knee?
It's getting there. It's not 100%, but it's definitely a lot better now. Like, I don't worry about it. Before I saw Em, I was at the point where I was worried day to day that it would either give way or not support. Whereas now I have full faith in it.
Okay. So where did you go from this basic range of motion stuff? How did the rehab progress over time?
So go back to January now, haven't we? So initially we did kind of 2 programs. We had a home exercise program, and then we did week by week exercise programs where it was a little bit harder. The home stuff was just passive and very basic active range of movement, so working with and against gravity to make it easier. And you did that daily, which was amazing, and it meant that when it came to the in-house sessions, she had improved her mobility and was more confident in doing it. We started off with simple stuff, just strengthening everything around the shoulder. And as every week's gone on, we've loaded it more. So either pushing off the wall, pushing off the floor, pushing with barbell. And then the last few weeks were some more rugby-based drills. So can she accept weight onto that shoulder, land on it, which was great fun for Steph.
You love your gym training, don't you, Steph?
I do, yeah. So when it all happened, it was a major setback. But like gradually, as Em said, we started with gravity, then we introduced weights. So it felt like I was heading more back to normality so I could go back into the gym.
Right, okay. I think we've got a little video of was this the first time on a Swiss ball beginning to press?
Yeah, that was, so we building up from there.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Good stuff.
But
So,
our rehab program, obviously per week, it wasn't within that hour session. It wasn't just we can spend a whole hour on the shoulder, which was obviously the main issue. We split it. So it was the more heavy compound stuff, which mostly focused on the knee, because obviously that was an issue at the same time. And then it was shoulder. So, but the knee cleared up quite quickly, didn't it? Within a few weeks, you were confident using it. 1 or 2 flare-ups, but she was jumping by the end, heavy deadlifts, and then the goal was to get back to CrossFit or start CrossFit. So we made some CrossFit-based activities, make it more functional for what she wants to do, and she got it. She's back there now.
Awesome. So we'll talk about how you're feeling now in a sec, because obviously, you know, you're doing so much better. But are you all right to tell us, Steph, how you were feeling when you first came to Em for a bit of rehab? How did you feel after your surgery and you weren't training, etc.?
I wasn't me, and I think that's what you saw straight away, Georgie. Was I wasn't me. I felt like I'd lost myself, because literally up until that point, I felt I was playing the best rugby I'd played. I was doing amazing in the gym, and it literally stopped me dead in my tracks, you know. And I spent a lot of December being really depressed. I lost who I was.
Yeah.
So, and it was hard because it took a while to accept that, yes, I was injured, but it was also the trauma that surrounded it, because it was just the start of everything.
Okay. Takes away everything that you love, doesn't it, when you suddenly stopped like that, and it's such a shock.
Yeah, it took everything. And rugby for the last, since I've been playing 4 years, has been my outlet. So I'm always one to admit I haven't had the best mental health in the past. So to take my outlet away from me, or have it taken from me, really, really got to me.
Yeah, and we did see that. And I was talking to your other half one day, and not that we talk about patients, but you're a friend as well as a patient. And
yeah,
you know,
and
we were concerned for you, and you know, we just knew that you had to get back to moving and training, and you know, having some help with this, because it's complex rehab, right? She's got a couple of things going on, and it must have been really difficult for Steph to know where to start. So that's exactly your expertise, right?
Definitely. And I think some people forget, you know, yes, the whole purpose of this rehab was she wants to get back to rugby. But when you have a limited mobility in a shoulder, there's really simple things you can't do. You can't grab a drink off the side of the table. You can't always wash your hair, you know, for women, you know, putting a bra on. Exactly. There's all these everyday activities, sometimes even grabbing a seatbelt. You know, they're things you shouldn't have to think about. And in Steph's case, she was having to think about them. And alongside that, she didn't trust her knee. So, yeah. But from day one of meeting you, and then, maybe 2 or 3 sessions down the line, where I think you started to gain some trust in what we were doing and where we were going with it. And there's 2 different people. Day 1, you're kind of a shell of yourself. Day 3, you told me what you thought of me.
Yeah. But for me, that was a massive thing to realise that, obviously, Georgie, if I was seeing you for treatment like I have in the past, I'm always relaxed because I know you and I've known you for so many years. So meeting Em, it was a new person to have to admit everything, because you have to go through the accident of what had happened and go through telling that trauma, which is naturally upsetting in itself. And then you've got to sit down and look at this path, because you know it's going to be a long path. But from the moment I sat down with Em, it was just that reassurance, like the way she spoke, the things she said, the tone of her voice. I felt so safe and like I was in good hands.
Oh,
thanks, Steph.
Oh, the love in the room.
And she makes really good brownies.
Oh, check out the brownies.
Plug your page.
So how long did it take then, before things got spicy and you started doing fun stuff like this in the gym?
I think that was in March, wasn't it? We started doing all of that. So
Yeah.
third
It's
month.
so funny.
Yeah. So for the people who are watching this isn't me just beating up my patient. This is obviously before this, she was tackling me. So it was, can she tackle? Can she put pressure on that shoulder? And then we swapped roles, and actually, can she be tackled and can she land on that shoulder? So what we're doing here is we're starting on the knees, so obviously further to full. And then we had a mat. The mat was mainly for me because it hurt, not for Steph. But, you know, we were practicing, and it's more of a mental block, isn't it, Steph, that actually I'm telling her she's got to throw herself onto the shoulder that has been injured and was injured in a similar way. So, yeah, we've got to start somewhere. So
it was definitely a mental block because so long I'd had to protect it. So the moment that it happened, I had to protect that shoulder. You know, you immobilize it, you don't use it. And then all of a sudden, you know, I was told by the hospital you can start moving. But even when you've got, you know, professional like Emily saying, fall on it, it's fine, it's still that thing in the back of your head where you still want to protect it.
Yeah. Definitely. And that's not conscious, is it? That's not even you. That thing in the back of your head is your primal brain in safe mode, isn't it? Stopping you. And that's what you've spent ages as a rugby player desperately avoiding and training out, isn't it? So that you can take the hard hits and the hard tackles and stuff. I love this video of where you were beginning to push and tackle. How did that feel, taking that impact?
The first hit was nerve-wracking, and I literally just stepped into it. But I think Emily can agree that literally after two, there was no holding me back, was there?
Oh, you absolutely killed my back. I was in agony that night. But she did so good, and you know, it made her have to hit that ball hard. And then not in this video, but then we started about like ripping the ball off me. So it was, she hits and she lands on the shoulder. So that was another progression of this. But yeah, it was great. And actually it was showing how strong she is and actually how capable she is in a controlled manner.
Yeah.
What I love about all of those videos is that you're both having so much fun. And
yeah,
and that happens in everything that you do, every rehab that you do, whether it's a 70-plus-year-old lady, or if it's, you know, a rugby injury like this, you know how to get the best out of people and get them smiling and laughing. We hear it from your room and the gym when you're in it all the time. It's so cool.
Yeah, there's always something odd I'm doing, or taking a piece of equipment and using it how no one else has used it before. And I'm like,
I've never seen a peanut ball used like that before. I mean, we use it for like strict hamstring curls, or, you know, I've never seen it used like that before. That's awesome.
Yeah. Hit it.
Cool. Totally cool. So Steph, what would you say is the best thing about working with them?
Be kind.
No, do you know what? It's the fact that Emma's been so understanding, and not even just about the injury, but she knows that it's never just about the injury. It's everything that comes in it. And the fact that we can have a laugh, we can have a joke. It never feels like I'm just going in to just do a bit of rehab. It always is. It's fun. And I never thought I'd say that.
Yeah.
And it's the support that comes with it as well.
That's lovely to hear. What's the best thing about working with Steph then, Emily?
She tries every week. Every week she'll be like, oh, with some exercises, but she puts 100% in. And actually, occasionally we've had a few texts here and there, and it's so nice hearing. This week I've done a full press up on my own without needing support, and actually that's a massive progression. And yeah, so good stuff like that. And actually her wanting to film her rehab, because it just shows she's proud of herself, which is amazing. And we reflect every week, you know, look, you couldn't do this last week. And on her program, like week 1 she could do 2 kilos, week 6 we're up to nearly 10. Like she was able to progress every single week. She was telling me she was doing extra stuff in the week, so I couldn't ask for any more, really.
Amazing. It's so cool working with people when they put that amount of effort in, isn't it? That amount of love and care. It's just
Definitely.
so good.
Definitely.
And that's why we love working with you, Steph, and that's why you're our patient of the month, because you've just done so well. You were physically broken and pieced back together again, and your mental health, you were struggling because you couldn't do what you loved, and you couldn't put the right foot forward first. You needed someone to pick you up and get you going.
I needed that nudge that you gave me, and as I said to you, Georgie, I can't thank you enough for putting me on the right path, because I was broken, you know, in more ways than one.
Yeah, I think we had probably about 5 barriers, didn't we?
Oh, sorry, Emily.
I said I think we had about 5 or 6 barriers when we first started. I won't go details, but we had the 2 injuries, and then we had work stuff, and we had family stuff, and then we had, you know, psychological mental health stuff. So we had so many things, and I think to anyone watching this, like, that is an injury. It's not one thing. It's everything, isn't it?
It's everything that comes together, and that's the thing. You didn't just support the rehab; you supported everything that was going on around.
Good. I'm glad I helped.
Yeah, because you come to us as a whole person. We can't just work on one thing. We have to incorporate the whole thing. You know. Awesome. Well, it's been super working with you, Steph. Thank you so much. And you're great. Well done. Lovely rehab.
Thank you.
Well done, girls. See ya.
See ya. Bye.